I can live with that. That's all I want to accomplish, Madam Ambassador. She chuckled. You always were such a charmer. Too bad my efforts were wasted on you. She could hear the smile in his voice as he said goodbye, promising to call her when Angel's itinerary had been planned. This wasn't the first time Vince had stepped in to rescue her from a difficult situation in Mauritania. That had happened several decades earlier when she had accompanied Amira, the prettiest girl in school, to the local street market for pizza. She would never forget the look of surprise on his face when he had run into them in the Marche Capitale. Although she had been there many times with her father, she wasn't supposed to traverse the streets of Nouakchott by herself, let alone use public transportation to do so. She and Amira had been helping each other grasp their native languages. Amira's father, a local hire at the embassy, had been encouraged to allow her to attend the American International School of Nouakchott, which was located on embassy grounds. English was the language of instruction, but students were expected to know French and the local dialect, Hassaniya Arabic, as well. The school closed before noon on Fridays so the Mauritanian boys could attend prayer at the local mosque with their fathers. Amira had been told to return straight home after their tutoring session, but instead she suggested they go for pizza in the market. Few restaurants were open on Friday afternoons, but Amira knew of one near her house. Taking public transportation was a normal way of life for Amira, and neither teenager realized it might not be safe for Ellie. Her pale skin stood out like a lighthouse beacon on a clear night and drew many curious and potentially threatening stares. Despite Amira's attempts to put everyone at ease, the harsh comments were hurtful and frightening to Ellie. She had been scared and very relieved to see Vince, even if it meant she was in trouble. Ellie pulled off her headset and stepped to the door of her office, abstractedly wondering what had happened to Amira. She should try to find out, but not today. Chloe Allen sat with her back to the wall and with a direct visual on the doors that led into and joined their offices. Opposite her desk was a sofa that was more for decor than comfort. The last night or so, though, she had seen some of Chloe's embassy friends lounging on it while they waited for Chloe to finish her work for the evening. It wasn't a normal occurrence, and she understood being restricted to the embassy had changed everyone's way of life. Chloe's blonde hair was pulled away from her face with several decorative barrettes. Her fingernails, though not long, were painted a vibrant blue to match her outfit. Ellie estimated that she wasn't more than an inch or so taller than her own 5'8", but Chloe always wore heels, which put her closer to 6 feet. Chloe's neck was bent as she concentrated on the computer monitor on her desk. She was barely 25 and had a rosy morning fresh complexion no matter the time of day. These factors combined to make Ellie feel much older than she really was whenever she was around her. Their conversations were superficial, and they were still getting to know each other, but she had managed to get Chloe to talk long enough to know that her mom was a Marine. Chloe had moved from base to base her entire life, some overseas and some in the States. "Chloe," she said again, raising her voice only enough to gain the young woman's attention. Chloe jumped to her feet. "Yes, ma'am." Ellie motioned her back into the chair. She still wasn't accustomed to the way her staff responded to her. She had repeatedly asked her staff to call her Ellie, but they were still as formal as the day she had arrived at the embassy 6 months ago. "Please call Sergeant Miller and ask him to come see me when he gets a chance. No rush. Whenever he's free is fine." "Yes, ma'am. I'll call him right now." She returned to her office as Chloe picked up her phone. Though most meeting rooms in the embassy contained pillows for seating to make their local guests feel more comfortable, she was pleased that her office here on the 2nd floor had been outfitted with couches for her comfort. She sank into her chair and spun to look out at the crowd beneath her window. Not for the first time, she wished she could pick up the phone and call her father. His knowledge of embassies and the challenges she faced would certainly be welcome. She felt the niggling thought that she had reacted to his death the same way he had reacted to her mother's passing, by running away to a country where she could